Ladies and gentlemen, before I start, let me ask you something honest. How many of you opened your phone today, scrolled for 2 minutes, and suddenly felt like your entire life is a failure? Don't lie. 2 minutes on social media and suddenly everyone is younger than you, richer than you, happier than you, traveling more than you, has a gym body, glowing skin, a perfect partner, 3 businesses, and somehow a dog that understands English. It's insane. You wake up feeling normal, but after one scroll, your brain starts shouting, "Bro, you are behind. Everyone is winning. What are you doing with your life?" You see a 19-year-old driving a Lamborghini, and you're like, "When I was 19, I was borrowing my cousin's bicycle." You see someone saying, "I just made $10,000 in my sleep," and you're thinking, "I can't even sleep properly. Forget making money in it." And the funniest part, you don't even know if any of it is real. But your brain reacts like it is carved in stone. Today, social media has become the world's biggest illusion show. It's the magic show where nobody pulls a rabbit out of a hat. People pull a mansion out of a rented Airbnb. People pull a luxury car out of a 1-hour rental. People pull perfect life out of 10 seconds of editing. But you see it, you feel it, and you compare your entire life with their best 20 seconds. Imagine you see someone posting, "I just bought my dream house." You click on their profile, and suddenly they're also a mentor, coach, mindset architect, digital CEO. Bro, yesterday you were posting TikTok dances. Today you're a CEO, promotion speed, legendary. But this illusion hits hard. It makes you feel slow. It makes you feel like you're not doing enough. It makes you feel behind in a race you didn't even know you entered. Let me give you a real example. One guy went viral for being a self-made millionaire at 21. Later, people found out the Ferrari wasn't his. The house wasn't his. Even the suit wasn't his. He literally borrowed his cousin's suit to look rich. He didn't have money, but he had confidence. Another girl went viral for saying she earned 6 figures a month from her business. Turns out, the business was selling an ebook on how to make 6 figures a month. She made money teaching people how to make money that she wasn't making. But the point is, you compare your real life with someone else's highlight reel, and suddenly you feel behind. Your real life has bills. Your real life has stress. Your real life has doubts. Their life has filters, lighting, angles, and captions like, "I'm blessed, I'm grateful." Meanwhile, you're like, "I'm stressed, I'm tired." Every generation had comparison. But earlier, you only compared yourself with people around you, your friends, your cousins, your neighbors. Now you compare yourself with the whole world. You compare your normal breakfast with someone having breakfast in Bali on a floating pool tray. You compare your job with someone who travels full-time and earns passive income. You compare your relationship with couples who take perfectly staged photos holding each other's hands with the sunset in the background. Meanwhile, you're fighting with your partner about who used the remote last night. Let me tell you the truth. Most people are not ahead of you. They're just louder than you. Most people are not happier than you. They just post more than you. Most people are not more successful than you. They just show you the one successful moment out of 365 days. You're not behind. You're just comparing your chapter 3 to someone's chapter 30, which they wrote using Photoshop. And the biggest illusion of all, social media makes you believe that success is instant. One video, one idea, one jump. But reality, success is slow cooking, not instant noodles. Don't let an illusion make you doubt your reality. Because the people who really win are not the loudest. They are the most consistent. You know what's funny? Social media has made everyone feel like life is some hyper-speed competition. But the funniest thing is, the people you're comparing yourself to aren't even running the same race as you. Some of them aren't even running. They're just posing on the track. You open your phone and suddenly you see, "Just hit my monthly goal. Just launched my 4th business. Just bought my dream car." And you're sitting there thinking, "I just launched my laundry machine." But let me tell you a new, very modern illusion. Recently, a girl went viral on TikTok for showing her perfect daily routine. Waking up at 5 a.m., doing yoga, journaling, reading a book, cooking avocado toast, meditating, planning her day. People were shocked, inspired, motivated. Then she posted bloopers by accident. In reality, she wakes up at 11, hates yoga, burns the toast, drops the book on her face, and half her routine was staged in one afternoon. This is the world we compare ourselves to. Not real people. People performing their best version for 30 seconds. Another example. There was a guy posting inspirational videos from a luxury office. Expensive table, big glass windows, city view behind him. People thought, wow, big businessman. Then one day someone noticed the city view was actually a wallpaper from Amazon. $15. The office? A public library study room. Bro was dropping business wisdom, surrounded by students doing homework. But when you see these things online, your brain doesn't know the difference. You immediately start doubting your own pace. You start asking yourself questions like, why am I not there yet? Why am I not moving fast enough? Why is everybody ahead of me? Let me tell you something powerful. You're not slow. You're not behind. You're not failing. What's happening is simple. You're comparing your reality to someone else's edited highlight reel. And the worst part, social media doesn't just show success. It shows speed. Everything looks instant. Made $100,000 in 30 days. Lost 25 kg in 60 days. Became a millionaire in 1 year. It makes you feel like if you don't blow up in 6 months, you're doing something wrong. But the truth is this. Real success is slow. Real growth is invisible. Real improvement is boring. No one posts themselves failing 100 times before getting the one success video. No one posts the months where nothing changed. No one posts the nights crying over stress. No one posts the hard days where quitting feels easier. But that is where real progress actually happens. You know what social media really messes up? Your sense of direction. Not because others look perfect. Not because they look rich, but because suddenly you're exposed to 1,000 different life paths at the same time. You open your phone and boom, 10 people are telling you to start a business, 20 are telling you to invest, 30 are telling you to quit your job, 40 are telling you to get a job, 50 are telling you to chase passion, and one guy is staring at the camera saying, if you don't wake up at 4 a.m., you'll be a loser forever. Bro, I just woke up at 10 a.m. Relax. This is the new illusion. Not that you're failing, but that you're choosing the wrong path because social media shows you every path at once. Imagine you're eating your lunch, a simple lunch, bread, egg, maybe tea. You scroll. Someone is selling on Amazon. Someone is trading crypto. Someone is flipping real estate. Someone is day trading stocks. Someone is doing drop shipping. Someone is doing fitness coaching. Someone is selling courses on how to sell courses. And suddenly, your brain goes, Biro, you should be doing all of this. Now your tea starts tasting like failure. Let me give you an example. A guy posted a reel saying, drop shipping changed my life. Next swipe, another guy says, don't do drop shipping, do Amazon FBA. Next swipe, someone says, both are dead, you must do crypto. Next swipe, someone says, crypto is risky. Start a YouTube channel. Next swipe. Someone says, YouTube is oversaturated, become a freelancer. Next swipe. Someone says, stop freelancing, build an agency. And you're sitting there thinking, can someone tell me which one leads to food? Social media has turned life into a buffet with 200 dishes. And you're scared to pick anything because you think something else might be better. This illusion makes you feel behind, not because you're slow, but because you're overwhelmed. You don't stick to one path long enough to grow. You jump from idea to idea like a Wi-Fi signal in a basement. Another new example. There was a guy who tried 14 different online income methods in 3 months because he kept seeing new videos. Amazon FBA for 1 week, then affiliate marketing, then trading, then a side hustle making candles. You know what he realized? He wasn't failing because the methods didn't work. He was failing because he switched every 7 days. But social media brainwashes you like that. It makes you think that the moment something feels difficult, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing, then you switch and switch and switch. But here's the truth. Every path works if you stick to it long enough. But none work if you jump every week. The illusion is that the best path is the one you're not doing. But the reality is that the best path is the one you're commit to. In the past, people had 3-4 ways to succeed. Now you have 300, and every video screams, this is the one. No wonder you feel lost. No wonder you feel late. No wonder you feel confused. But the moment you stop chasing all paths and start walking one path, you'll stop feeling behind and start feeling unstoppable. There's another illusion social media creates that nobody talks about. The illusion that everyone is achieving something right when you are struggling the most. Isn't it crazy how perfectly timed it feels? The exact day you wake up tired, frustrated, unsure of your future, that's the day someone posts, "Just got my dream job." The day you check your bank balance and it scares you, someone posts, "I hit my first million." The moment you're having a bad hair day, someone uploads a photo shoot looking like they walked out of a shampoo commercial. It's almost suspicious. Like social media has a personal alarm. User is sad. Quick, show them someone winning. But here's the truth. Social media never shows you the full picture. It only shows you people's highlight moments, but it shows them at the exact moment you're experiencing your tough moments. Let me give you a new example. There was a guy who posted, "Finally graduated, hard work pays off." Everyone celebrated him. People even felt jealous. What he didn't mention was, he failed the same subject 3 times and almost gave up. He didn't post those parts. He posted the victory picture on the day you were exhausted. Another example. A girl posted a viral reel showing her new office space, beautiful, minimalist, expensive furniture. People were like, "Wow, she's growing fast." But what they didn't know is that she spent the last 2 years working in her bedroom, eating noodles, and using a stack of boxes as a desk. She posted her success on the exact day you were doubting your own progress. But that's the illusion. You only see people at the top of the mountain, and you compare it to your moment when you're still climbing. Imagine you're on your first push-up, arms shaking, sweat coming, about to collapse. At that same moment, someone posts their transformation video. Day 365 of working out. Feeling proud. Of course you feel behind. You're comparing your day 1 to someone's day 365. Another fresh example. There's a trend, big announcement coming, and people post that when something good is happening. But when something bad is happening, they stay silent. You don't see their failures, their stress, their bad days. So now your brain thinks, everyone has something exciting happening. Why don't I? You feel behind, not because you are behind, but because you're seeing everyone's best moment at once, every single day, all the time. Think about it. Before social media, how often did you hear someone's good news? Maybe once a month? Maybe once every few weeks? Now, 50 people's achievements before breakfast. No wonder your brain feels like it's losing. And here's something even deeper. Your brain is wired to compare. But it was only built to compare with a few people around you, not with millions of strangers across the world. So when someone in Dubai posts success, someone in New York posts a wedding, someone in London posts a promotion, someone in Tokyo posts a vacation, your brain mixes them all together and says, "Wow, everyone except me is moving forward." But that's not true. You're just seeing tiny pieces of many people's lives and imagining they all belong to one person. You aren't behind. You're just living in a world where positive news is magnified and your own struggles are silent. Your journey is not wrong. Your timing is not wrong. Your progress is not wrong. You're simply comparing your real timeline to someone else's edited timeline. There's one more illusion social media creates, and this one is the most dangerous of them all. It teaches your brain to expect instant rewards for everything. On social media, everything is fast. You post something, you get likes in seconds. You write something, you get validation from strangers. You try a new skill. You see someone doing it perfectly in a 20-second clip. And slowly, without realizing it, your brain gets addicted to instant wins. So when real life moves at real speed, you think you're behind. Think about it. Real life gives you results in months or years, but social media gives you dopamine every few seconds. You study for 3 hours, no applause. But you post a picture of your notes, you get 200 likes. You work on yourself silently, no one notices. But someone makes a 15-second video saying, "I just changed my life," and it gets 1 million views. No wonder real life feels slow. No wonder your journey feels boring. No wonder progress feels invisible. Not because you're behind, but because your brain is comparing slow reality to fast dopamine. Let me give you an example. A guy started learning guitar. In real life, it takes months to get good sounds out of that thing. But online, he kept seeing kids playing like rock stars at age 10. After 1 week, he quit. Not because he was bad, but because he didn't get viral speed progress. Another example, someone started a small business. Realistically, a business needs months to grow. But he kept seeing videos saying, "I hit $10,000 in my first week." He shut down his shop in 20 days because he didn't hit $10,000. Not because he failed, but because his brain couldn't handle slow success anymore. And this is what social media does. It rewires your mind. It tricks you into thinking that if results aren't instant, something is wrong. It makes patience feel like failure and consistency feel pointless. But let me tell you something honest. Every meaningful thing in life grows slowly. Confidence grows slowly. Skills grow slowly. Businesses grow slowly. Relationships grow slowly. Discipline grows slowly. Your life purpose grows slowly. Just because you don't get likes for your effort doesn't mean the effort is wasted. Real progress is silent. Real progress isn't dramatic. Real progress doesn't have background music. Real progress doesn't announce itself. It just builds quietly, day after day, inside you. But because social media rewards speed, drama, excitement, you start thinking your calm, steady growth is nothing. Let me tell you a deeper truth. You're not behind. Your brain has just forgotten what real life feels like. It has gotten used to fast dopamine, but real life runs on slow meaning. And the day you disconnect your self-worth from likes, views, and comparisons, you'll realize something powerful. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Your journey is unfolding at the right pace. Your story is still being written, and it doesn't need to impress anyone on a screen. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not falling behind. You are simply living a human life, not an algorithm-driven one. And that is not a weakness. That is your power. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever looked around and thought, wait, why do some people get everything so easily, while the rest of us have to fight for every inch? You work hard, stay honest, do everything right, and somehow the results still go to someone else. Let's face it, the system is rigged. You think life is a fair game? Ask the guy who worked 10 years at a job and still got replaced by someone's cousin. Ask the student who studied day and night but lost the scholarship to a politician's kid. The truth is, the world doesn't reward fairness, it rewards strategy. Look at Steve Jobs. He was fired from his own company. Imagine being thrown out of the house you built. Was that fair? No. But he didn't cry about it. He prepared, he learned, he adapted, and when he came back, he changed the world again with the iPhone. Or think about Colonel Sanders, the man behind KFC. He was rejected over 1,000 times trying to sell his recipe. 1,000? If he had believed the system was against him, which it was, you'd never be eating fried chicken today. That's what I mean when I say the world favors the prepared, not the lucky. People see success and call it luck, but luck is what happens when preparation finally meets opportunity. Most people waste years waiting for luck. The smart ones prepare for it. You see, life is like a video game that nobody explained the controls for. The rich kids start with extra lives, better armor, and a cheat code. But here's the secret. If you study the game, learn the rules, and master your timing, you can still beat them. You just have to play smarter and faster. The system is built to test your hunger, not your comfort. Most people quit when it's unfair. Winners keep going until they figure out how it works. I remember a young entrepreneur once told me, "Sir, I think the world doesn't want people like us to succeed." I laughed and said, "Good, that means you're in the real world now. Because if the world welcomed you easily, you'd never grow." You see, the system is not supposed to make it easy for you. It's designed to filter out the ones who just want success from the ones who earn it. So stop complaining about how unfair life is. Every minute you spend saying it's rigged is a minute someone else is learning how to beat the system. You can't change how the world works overnight, but you can change how you work inside the world. Be sharper, be faster, be unpredictable. Because when you understand the game, you don't need it to be fair. You just need to know how to win. You know what's funny? The people who shout the loudest about the system being unfair are usually the ones who never tried to understand it. They say rich people are lucky. But have you ever seen how they think? They don't just work, they observe. The world is not built for the complainers, it's built for the learners. Let me give you an example. Elon Musk. People call him crazy, weird, lucky, whatever. But that man doesn't play by other people's rules. When the system said, you can't launch rockets privately, he built SpaceX. When they said, electric cars will never work, he built Tesla. The system didn't open the door, he kicked it open. That's what winners do. They stop waiting for permission. And listen, this applies to all of us. The people who get ahead in life are not always the most talented. They're the most aware. They notice things others ignore. You want to win in a rigged world? Learn to see what lazy people don't. You think your boss promotes his favorite employee because he's lucky? No. That guy understood the office system. He knew what mattered most. He communicated better. He delivered results when everyone else just followed orders. That's not luck. That's awareness. You can't outfight the system with anger. You outsmart it with understanding. And I'll tell you something many won't like. Life is not a school test. You don't get marks for trying. You only get rewarded for results. Nobody cares if you worked 18 hours if you still delivered nothing. The world respects execution, not excuses. If you want proof, look at Netflix. In the early days, they offered to sell their company to Blockbuster for just $50 million. Blockbuster laughed and said, streaming? Who's going to watch movies on the internet? They thought they were too big to fail, but the system was changing. They didn't prepare. Netflix did. And guess who's laughing now? That's the point. The game changes every few years, but people don't. They complain that the system is unfair while still using yesterday's playbook. You want to win in 2025? You can't use 2005 thinking. Technology has changed. Opportunities have changed. But people's mindset, same old. Still waiting for someone to give them a chance instead of creating one. The system doesn't care who you are. It cares what you bring. You bring skill, strategy, and consistency. The world has no choice but to notice you. I've seen people start with nothing. No education, no money, no family background, and still rise simply because they refused to think like victims. They studied the system, played it smarter, and turned its weaknesses into their strengths. So stop saying the world is against me. The world isn't against you. It's testing if you deserve what you're asking for. And remember this, in a rigged system, your mind is your biggest weapon. Everyone has problems, but not everyone has a strategy. You know what the real problem is? Most people treat life like a complaint box instead of a challenge. They say, the system is unfair, then spend 3 hours scrolling through other people's success stories on social media. My friend, the system isn't your enemy. Your habits are. The truth is, the world is full of two kinds of people. One says, the system is against me. The other says, all right, let's learn how this system works. Guess who wins? Always the second one. You don't need to be a genius to succeed. You just need to pay attention. While everyone's talking, be the one who's observing. While everyone's complaining, be the one who's preparing. Let me tell you a small story. There was a taxi driver who used to complain every day. These new apps are stealing our jobs. Another driver said nothing. He signed up on the same app, learned how it worked, understood the rating system, and within a year, he was earning double. Same city, same car, different mindset. That's what I mean by outsmarting the system. You can't beat a game you refuse to study. Most people want success, but never bother reading the rule book. They just expect life to be fair. Well, guess what? Even the GPS says recalculating when you take the wrong turn. You can't expect life to say, oh, sorry, I'll make it easier next time. Here's the secret. The system doesn't want you to think for yourself. It wants you tired, emotional, distracted, so you give up. But when you start questioning, learning, and adapting, you suddenly become dangerous. Dangerous doesn't mean violent. It means unshakable. Take Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. That man wasn't born the most talented. He wasn't the fastest or most naturally gifted player. But while others partied after practice, he trained again. He built a body and a mindset that could outlast everyone. That's not luck. That's design. He learned how the football system worked and made himself undeniable. That's how you win in a rigged world. You make yourself too good to ignore. When you know how the system works, you don't fear rejection. You don't cry when people say no. You just smile and think, you'll come around later. That's how real winners move. Quietly, confidently, and with a small smirk. Because they know something most people don't. Every system has a weakness. Every system has a loophole. And those who observe carefully always find it first. So yes, the system is rigged. But remember, even the best system can't stop a person who knows how to adapt, learn, and keep moving. You know, every successful person has a story that starts with rejection. It's like a law of nature. If you haven't been rejected, you haven't started your journey yet. People look at success and see glory. They don't see the pain, the humiliation, the nights when you start questioning your own worth. But those nights are where real power is born. When you get rejected, don't take it personally. Take it as a sign you're playing in the right league. Remember J.K. Rowling? Every publisher told her no before Harry Potter became the biggest book series in the world. Imagine if she had stopped after the 10th rejection. The world would have never known Hogwarts. Or think about Walt Disney. He was fired from a newspaper because his editor said, "You have no imagination." Can you believe that? The man who built the most imaginative company on earth was told he lacked creativity. That's the system for you. It can't recognize vision until vision becomes profit. But what did they do? They didn't waste time crying about unfairness. They used that pain as fuel. They said, "All right, you'll see," and they built something so big that even the system had to clap. That's what you need to do. Stop asking for the world to be fair. Start preparing to make it notice. Every rejection is just a redirection. Every no you hear today is building the version of you that the world can't ignore tomorrow. Let me tell you a truth I learned early. Pain is a better teacher than success. Success whispers, pain screams. Pain wakes you up at 2 a.m. and asks, "Do you really want this?" And when you answer yes, that's when you grow. The people who win in life are not the ones who avoid pain, they're the ones who use it. You see, pain sharpens your focus. Rejection builds your patience. Unfairness tests your faith. And when you combine all three, you become unstoppable. I once met a young man who told me, "Sir, I've failed so many times that I'm scared to try again." I told him, "Good, that means you're ready." Because failure is not the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. If you haven't failed yet, you're not even in the game. The system will always test you first. It will make sure you're serious before it lets you in. That's why I always say, don't pray for an easier life. Pray for a stronger mind. Because the moment you stop seeing unfairness as your enemy and start seeing it as your training ground, you've already started winning. So when life gets tough, don't say, "Why me?" Say, "Try me." That attitude alone separates the weak from the warriors. So let's talk about how to actually win in a rigged system. Because talking about it is easy. Everyone does that. But playing the game smarter, that's where most people fail. The first rule, stop fighting the rules, learn them. Don't complain that the game is unfair. Figure out how the game is played. You can't change the world until you understand it. Even hackers don't break systems blindly. They study the code. You don't need to be rich or powerful to win. You just need to know what everyone else ignores. Study your industry, your boss, your customer, your timing. The person who studies will always beat the person who guesses. Second rule, build skills faster than the system can replace them. Look around. AI, automation, trends, they're all changing everything. But while most people panic, the smart ones learn. They take online courses, learn communication, build digital skills, master how to sell, how to think, how to lead. The system punishes the lazy, but it rewards the learners. Third rule, use what's free before you chase what's expensive. People say, "I can't start. I don't have capital." You have internet, you have time, you have your brain. That's capital too. Do you think the world's top content creators started with fancy studios? No, they started with their phones, bad lighting, and raw ideas. Fourth rule, stop asking for permission. If you wait for someone to approve your dream, you'll wait forever. Start messy, start small, start scared, but start. Because once you start, you learn what nobody else knows, the reality of doing. Let me tell you something funny. Every time I tried something new, people told me it won't work. And most of the time, they were right. It didn't work at first, but here's the twist. When you fail 9 times and learn 9 lessons, you're 9 steps smarter than the person who never tried once. That's how you quietly move ahead, while others are still debating whether it's possible. Fifth rule, make allies, not enemies. The world loves collaboration. Stop thinking you're in competition with everyone. Even lions hunt in groups. That's how they bring down elephants. If you surround yourself with people who only complain, your life becomes a complaint. Surround yourself with doers, and suddenly the same world looks full of opportunity. Last rule, keep your long game strong. The system is designed to distract you with short wins. Don't fall for it. Focus on learning, on building, on staying consistent. When you keep working quietly while everyone else keeps talking loudly, life eventually becomes your scoreboard. Because at the end of the day, the system may be smart, but it has one weakness. It can't stop someone who refuses to quit learning, growing, and moving forward. You see, my friends, the system might be rigged, but it's not unbeatable. It's not designed to destroy you. It's designed to test if you really want it. Life hides its best rewards behind the hardest doors. That's why most people stop knocking too soon. Every time you fail, the system whispers, "See, you're not good enough." And that's the moment most people believe it, but not you. Not anymore. You are not here to play by someone else's rules forever. You are here to learn them, bend them, and one day rewrite them. Remember this: every billionaire, every leader, every icon you admire, they weren't invited into the system. They crashed it. They walked in through the back door, built their own table, and said, "If there's no seat for me, I'll bring my own chair." You think the system was built for people like you and me? No. But we don't wait for fair chances. We create our own. We don't wait for light. We learn to shine in the dark. Because when you stop complaining and start understanding, when you stop fearing and start adapting, something shifts. You become unstoppable. You become that one person the system can't predict, can't control, can't silence. And when that happens, the same system that tried to limit you will eventually have to work for you. So yes, the system is rigged, but here's the truth. Rigged or not, winners still win. Because they never stop learning. They never stop moving. They never stop believing. And one day, when the world looks at you, they won't say, "You were lucky." They'll say, "You were prepared. Now go. Be the one who outsmarts the system. Be the one who proves that no wall is too high and no rule is too strong to stop a prepared mind." Because in this life, the game may be fixed, but victory still belongs to the player who never quits. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. You know what's crazy? If I put 100 people in this room right now, 90 of them will spend their entire life working and still end up broke. Not because they don't work hard, not because they're not smart, but because they're trapped. And the worst part is, they don't even know they're in a trap. It's like putting a rat on a wheel. The rat runs fast, sweats, works hard, maybe even feels proud, but it's still in the cage. That's 90% of people today. Wake up, go to work, get a salary, spend it all, repeat. Then at 60, they look in the mirror and ask, "Where did my life go?" That's not life. That's a treadmill. And here's the trick. This trap doesn't look dangerous. It actually looks safe. It feels comfortable. Society even rewards you for staying inside. You get your first job, everyone claps. You get a loan for a car, people clap even louder. You take a 30-year mortgage, they say, "Wow, you're so successful." But in reality, they're just clapping as you walk deeper and deeper into the cage. Let's make this more relatable. Imagine a young man named Ali. He gets his first paycheck. He feels rich, like a king. What's the first thing he does? He buys a new phone, then new shoes, then maybe a motorcycle on installments. And suddenly, his money is gone. Next month, same thing. Next year, same thing. 5 years later, same thing. It's not life, it's a hamster wheel. You run, 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 but you never leave the cage. And if you try to break out, oh, the crabs will pull you back. You say, "I want to start a business." Your family says, "No, no, no, too risky." You say, "I want to learn a new skill." Your friends say, "Why waste your time? Let's go out tonight." This is why so many people stay trapped. Not because they can't climb out, but because the people around them don't let them. Look at famous examples. Steve Jobs dropped out of college. Bill Gates left Harvard. Edison was called too stupid to learn. If they listened to society, we'd have no light bulb, no iPhones, no Microsoft. They broke the trap. Meanwhile, 90% of people are busy following the same recipe. School, job, salary, loan, retirement. It's like playing a video game where the ending is already written. You know exactly how it will end, and yet you still play it. The worst poverty is not having no money. The worst poverty is believing this is all my life can ever be. Once you accept that, you don't even need chains anymore. You've already locked yourself in. So ask yourself right now, are you actually living your life, or are you just stuck in the poverty trap? Let me tell you the secret. Poverty isn't always about how much you earn. It's about how you think. Think about this. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a spending problem. If they earn $500, they spend $600. If they earn $5,000, they spend $6,000. The trap is not your salary. The trap is your habits. You ever notice when someone gets a raise, the first thing they say is, finally, I can buy that new car. They don't even see the money yet, but the car is already parked in their head. That's not a raise. That's just a bigger cage with shinier walls. I'll give you an example. There's this guy, let's call him Ahmed. He earns $1,000 a month. He complains it's not enough. Then suddenly, he gets a promotion and earns $2,000. What happens? Does he save? Invest? No. He just doubles his lifestyle. Bigger phone, bigger TV, bigger dinners. Same stress, same broke wallet. Just a more expensive cage. This is why 90% of people are stuck. They're not poor because of low income. They're poor because their desires keep outgrowing their paychecks. It's like pouring water into a bucket with holes. No matter how much you add, it keeps leaking. And the companies love this. You think the ads on your phone are random? No. They know exactly when you got paid. Payday comes, and suddenly your feed is full of shoes, phones, vacations. They don't want you to save. They don't want you to invest. They want you to be a loyal prisoner, trapped forever in the cycle. Work, spend, repeat. Now look at the people who escape. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. Mark Zuckerberg, he wears the same t-shirt every day. These guys understand one thing. Money is a tool, not a toy. But 90% of people, they treat money like confetti. The moment they get it, they throw it in the air. Then they wonder, why am I broke? My friend, because you're dancing in the trap. Here's the truth. If you don't learn to control your spending, you will always be poor, no matter how much you earn. Poverty is not an income problem, it's a behavior problem. So the first chain you have to break is not your salary, it's your mindset. Stop upgrading your lifestyle. Start upgrading your skills. That's how you escape the poverty trap. Now let's talk about the second lock on this trap. Fear. If spending is the rope that keeps people tied down, fear is the padlock that makes sure they never break free. Most people are not poor because they're lazy. They're poor because they're scared. Scared to fail, scared to lose money, scared of what people will say. It's funny, they'd rather stay broke for life than risk looking stupid for a year. Imagine this. Your friend says, let's start a business. What's the first thought in most people's heads? What if it fails? Nobody says, what if it works? That's the trap. Fear makes them imagine the worst outcome before they even take the first step. I'll give you a real-life example. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. If he thought like 90% of people, we'd still be living in the dark, reading books with candles. Can you imagine? Sorry, boss, I couldn't finish the report. Candle burned out. But here's the funny part. People who are scared of failure don't realize they're already failing. If you spend 40 years in a job you hate just to retire broke, isn't that failure too? You tried to avoid losing, and in the end, you lost anyway. That's like refusing to play the game because you might not win, but then you automatically lose by default. And the fear doesn't come from nowhere. Society trains us to be afraid. In school, if you make a mistake, you fail the test. At work, if you take a risk and it doesn't work, you get fired. So people grow up thinking mistakes are deadly. But in real life, mistakes are tuition fees. You pay with failure, but you graduate with wisdom. Look at all the success stories. Jeff Bezos was laughed at when he said he would sell books on the internet. People thought he was crazy. Elon Musk lost more rockets than anyone before he got it right. Even Colonel Sanders, the KFC guy, was rejected over 1,000 times before someone agreed to sell his chicken recipe. If they listened to fear, today we wouldn't have Amazon, Tesla, or fried chicken. But what about the 90%? They let fear rule their lives. They sit in the office every day thinking, what if I quit? What if I fail? And they forget to ask the more important question, what if I never try? The truth is simple. Fear is expensive. It costs you dreams. It costs you opportunities. It costs you freedom. And if you don't pay the price of risk, you will pay the price of regret. So if you want to escape the poverty trap, you must learn to look fear in the eye and say, yes, I might fail, but I'd rather fail forward than stay stuck forever. If fear is the lock on the poverty trap, then comfort is the cushion inside. And oh, people love that cushion. Most people don't escape poverty, not because they can't, but because they're too comfortable being uncomfortable. Sounds strange, right? But think about it. They hate their job. They complain every day, yet they won't leave. Why? Because it's safe. Because at least at the end of the month, They know a paycheck is coming. It's like sitting on a broken chair. It hurts, but you've been sitting there so long that standing up feels scarier than the pain. Let me give you a funny picture. Imagine a man sitting in a pot of warm water. At first it feels nice. Then the water starts heating up. Slowly it gets hotter and hotter. But he says, it's fine. At least I know this pot. And then one day, cooked. That's the 90%. They'd rather stay boiling alive in the comfort pot than jump out into the cold unknown. This is why people choose Netflix over learning, gossip over networking, sleeping in over building skills. The comfort trap is sneaky. It doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like pleasure. But here's the truth. Comfort is expensive. It costs you your future. Look at athletes. Muhammad Ali once said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. The 90%? They say, I'll suffer later. Let me enjoy now. And then they end up suffering forever. Here's a relatable example. You come home from work tired. You think, I'll rest for 1 hour, then I'll work on my side hustle. But that 1 hour becomes 2, then 3, then suddenly it's midnight, and you say, okay, tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year. And before you know it, 10 years are gone. Comfort stole your decade. Even companies know this game. Why do you think they keep giving employees just enough perks? Free coffee, air conditioning, maybe free pizza on Fridays. They don't want you to be rich. They want you to be comfortable enough that you never leave. That's not a benefit. That's bait. Now compare this with people who escape the trap. They sacrifice comfort today to buy freedom tomorrow. While others are sleeping, they're learning. While others are spending, they're investing. While others are watching TV, they're building something. Success is uncomfortable, at least at first. But poverty is the most uncomfortable life of all. So here's the rule. If your life feels too comfortable, be careful. Comfort today can be poverty tomorrow. If fear is the lock and comfort is the cushion, then the people around you are the chains. You can work hard, save money, build skills, but if you're surrounded by the wrong crowd, you're not going anywhere. It's like trying to fly with rocks tied to your legs. Here's the truth. Poverty is contagious. If you spend all your time with broke, negative, small-minded people, you'll catch their habits. You'll catch their excuses. You'll catch their limits. You ever notice this? When you try to improve your life, the first people to stop you are not strangers. It's usually your own circle. You say, I want to start a business. Your cousin laughs, you'll lose everything. You say, I'm learning investing. Your friend says, bro, that's gambling. You say, I want to be different. Your family whispers, don't try to be special. This is the crab bucket effect. Put one crab in a bucket, it will climb out. Put 10 crabs in the bucket, and the moment one tries to climb out, the others pull it back down. That's 90% of people. They don't want you to escape the trap because it makes them face the truth about their own lives. Let's make it funny. Imagine you tell your broke friend, I'm not going out tonight. I'm saving money to invest. He'll look at you like you just announced you're moving to Mars. Invest. Bro, live a little. But that live a little is exactly why he'll be broke forever. Look at famous examples. Oprah Winfrey once said she had to cut off people who doubted her dreams. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. If he listened to those coaches, there'd be no Air Jordans. Even Albert Einstein was told by teachers that he would never amount to anything. Imagine if he believed them. The whole world would be missing the theory of relativity just because of a few negative voices. The chains are not always obvious. Sometimes it's not open negativity, it's just small thinking. You say, I want to make $10,000 a month. Your friend says, just be happy with $1,000. And slowly their tiny cage becomes your cage. Here's the reality. If you hang out with 5 broke people, guess who will be the 6th? You. But if you hang out with 5 ambitious people, you'll be pulled up instead of dragged down. So the 5th trap is this, the wrong people. If you want to escape poverty, sometimes you don't need more money, you need new friends. So we've seen the trap, spending habits, fear, comfort zones, and the wrong people. That's why 90% stay poor. But here's the good news. You don't have to be one of them. The trap is real, but the key is also real. And the key is this. Change yourself before you try to change your life. Most people want a bigger salary, but never build bigger skills. They want freedom, but never risk anything. They want success, but never leave the comfort zone. That's like wanting to lose weight while eating pizza every night. My friend, the math doesn't work. Here's the first step. Learn. Skills are the new money. If you can solve problems, you'll never be broke. The poor man says, I need more money. The rich man says, I need more skills. Which mindset do you think escapes the trap? Second step, stop chasing status. Start chasing freedom. Don't buy things to impress people who don't care about you. That new phone won't save you. That shiny car won't make you free. But an investment, a business, a skill, that's a key. Third step, face fear. Look, you'll fail. You'll embarrass yourself. You'll lose money sometimes. But that's tuition. Every failure is a receipt that you're paying for wisdom, and wisdom is priceless. Fourth step, change your circle. If your friends laugh at your dreams, find new friends. If your family doubts you, prove them wrong. Not with arguments, but with results. Remember this. Loyalty to negative people is not kindness, it's suicide. And finally, choose discomfort today so you can buy freedom tomorrow. Work when others are sleeping. Learn when others are partying. Save when others are spending. That's how the 10% live differently. Let me leave you with this. The trap keeping 90% poor is not the government, not the economy, not even their salary. It's their own choices. The good news? That means the power is in your hands. So tonight, when you go home, ask yourself, am I living free or am I just a prisoner in the poverty trap? And if the answer scares you, good. That means you've seen the cage, and once you see the cage, you can finally break out of it. Because the truth is simple, the trap is real, but so is the key. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I was young, people didn't just doubt me, they laughed. Not the polite kind of laugh you hear at a dinner table, no, the kind that says, you? Never. Impossible. And you know what? At that time they were right. I failed my school exams, not once, not twice, 3 times. I applied for jobs, 30 companies, every single one rejected me. Even KFC rejected me. Do you know how bad you have to be for a fried chicken restaurant to look at you and say, no, thank you? I couldn't get into Harvard. I applied 10 times, and 10 times they said no. People laughed because failure was all they saw. But here's the truth. That laughter became fuel. It hurt, yes, but it also lit a fire that said one day you'll see. I learned something important early in life. People only laugh at what they don't understand. People only laugh at people they don't believe in. And if they don't believe in you now, that's okay. Because the greatest victories happen in silence, when no one is watching. I remember telling my classmates I wanted to be an entrepreneur. They said, you can't even spell entrepreneur. And they were right, I couldn't spell it. But I could learn. The laughter was a sign that I was doing something unusual. Think about it. Nobody laughs at an ordinary plan. Nobody laughs at safe dreams. They only laugh when you step into the unknown. So I started to see it differently. When someone laughed, I didn't feel insulted anymore. I felt curious. I thought, why are they so sure I can't do it? When you start anything new, 3 things will happen. First, people will ignore you. Second, people will laugh at you. Third, people will fight you. In my early days, I decided to start teaching English classes. I had no money, no classroom, and no students. So I went to the park and offered free lessons to strangers. Most people walked past. Some smiled, some laughed, no one stopped. And here's the hardest truth. The beginning is lonely. You will work and not see results. You will sacrifice weekends. You will wake up early. You will sleep late, and the world won't even notice. But here's the thing, just like planting seeds, the growth happens underground first. You can't see it, but it's there. One day in the park, a young student stopped to listen. I taught that student with the same passion as if I had 100 people in front of me. That one became 3. 3 became 10. Lesson. Serve the few as if they were many, because how you treat the small opportunities determines if you'll ever get the big ones. Years later, I told friends I wanted to start an internet company. They laughed louder than ever. The internet? In China? Impossible. That's for Americans. At that time, less than 1% of the population even knew what the internet was. But I believed in it. I didn't need everyone to believe, just a few people. If your dream makes sense to everyone, it's too small. Let me share the principles I learned from those years of being laughed at. 1. Ignore approval. The crowd's opinion changes quickly. Your opinion of yourself matters more. 2. Stay foolish. Stay stubborn. If you are not stubborn, you quit too soon. If you are not foolish, you never start. 3. Find your why. If your why is only money, you will stop when money is hard. Your why must be bigger than profit. 4. Build with believers. Even one believer can silence 100 doubters. 5. Fail with style. If you fail, smile, because at least you tried while others only talked. There comes a moment when the laughter starts to fade and results start to speak. For me, that moment was when our small company finally launched online. It was messy, it was slow, but it was real. And people who once laughed started calling to ask for advice. The most interesting thing, the same people who doubted you will one day say, "I always knew you could do it." Don't be angry, smile, because in truth, they didn't believe, but you did. Revenge is not shouting, "I told you so." Revenge is living your life so well that you don't need to say anything. The real victory is not proving them wrong, it's proving yourself right. The people who laughed at you gave you a gift. They gave you resistance, and resistance builds strength. So ladies and gentlemen, if people are laughing at you today, let them. Smile, work, build, because one day the applause will replace the laughter, and on that day you will know they laughed until you won. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your life right now is basically a subscription plan. Some of you pay monthly in the form of stress, some yearly in the form of regret, and many of you didn't even read the terms and conditions. But the biggest charge on your life? Not Netflix, not Amazon, not inflation. It's your lack of self-discipline. Most people don't lose to failure, they lose to their own habits. And today we're going to fix that. Because the truth is simple. If your habits are poor, your results will always be expensive. Now, before we get into anything deep, let's talk about the real problem with discipline. People think it's about strength. No. Self-discipline is basically parenting yourself, and many adults still need adult supervision. Think about your own life. You tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," more consistently than Apple releases new iPhones. You tell yourself, "You'll wake up early," but your alarm clock is basically background music for your dreams. You tell yourself you'll focus, but somehow your phone sends you on a world tour of apps you didn't even open intentionally. So let's fix this by giving you the strongest technique first, the foundation for everything else. I want to start with a story about someone you definitely know. A few years ago, when Cristiano Ronaldo was asked why he never touches junk food during training, he said, "I already decided long before the temptation came." That line is worth more than most books. He didn't need discipline in the moment. He needed discipline before the moment. Most people try to be strong when the pizza is already in front of them, when the show already autoplayed, when the phone already buzzed, when the bed already looks like heaven. That's not discipline, that's negotiation. And you lose 99% of those negotiations. So here is the first technique to master self-discipline. Pre-decide your difficult choices. Decide before you need discipline. Want to wake up at 6? Don't decide at 5:59. Decide the night before. Put your phone across the room. Now when the alarm rings, you have to walk like a half-awake warrior to turn it off. But you'll stand up. And once you stand up, the battle is already won. Want to stop wasting time scrolling? Don't decide when you're already bored. Decide now. Remove the apps from your home screen. Don't leave them there like a chocolate cake on your desk. Want to stop eating junk food? Don't decide when the burger is staring into your soul. Decide at the grocery store. If it doesn't enter the house, it can't enter your stomach. Successful people from Serena Williams to top CEOs don't rely on willpower. Willpower is weak. Environment is strong. Systems are strong. Pre-decisions are strong. Let me give you a relatable example. Imagine you're on a diet. Your friend says, "Bro, let's just get one fries. We'll share." That's not sharing. That's emotional manipulation. If you didn't decide beforehand, you will say yes. Because humans don't make powerful decisions under temptation. We make them before temptation. So here's your homework. Take the 3 things you always fail at: waking up, studying, working out, focusing, and pre-decide your rules the night before. Write them somewhere if you have to, because discipline becomes easy when decisions are already made. And once you master this technique, everything else becomes 10 times easier. Before we continue, let me warn you, self-discipline has one enemy that is more dangerous than laziness, more powerful than distraction, and more consistent than your morning snooze button. It's the sentence we all use like a magic spell: I don't feel like it. This one line has killed more dreams than failure, bad luck, and lack of opportunity combined. People say they need motivation. No. If you only work when you're motivated, your success will be a part-time employee. Here's the truth. Nobody likes. Your feelings cannot be the boss of your life, because feelings are unstable, feelings are moody, feelings change faster than trending songs on TikTok. So the second technique to master self-discipline is simple. Do it without waiting to feel like it. Let me show you how dangerous feelings are. You tell yourself you'll start studying when you feel ready. But suddenly your brain tells you, I think I should clean my room first. Then while cleaning, oh look, a sock I haven't seen in 3 years. Then suddenly you're organizing your entire wardrobe like it's a Netflix episode. Your feelings hijack you, or you plan to go to the gym. But your mind says, it's okay, you're tired today, rest, you deserve it. And you believe that voice, the same voice that convinced you to order fast food last night. Feelings will always choose comfort, discipline chooses growth. Let me give you a famous example. Do you think Michael Phelps woke up every morning feeling excited to swim 6 hours a day? No. He said in an interview, I trained on days I felt good and on days I didn't. The days I didn't want to go. Those days built me. Success is not built on motivation. It's built on consistency during the days you don't feel like it. Now here's a relatable example. Remember in school when the teacher asked, who wants to present first? Your heart immediately yelled, not me. But the one student who went first, finished early, felt proud, and was stress-free. Meanwhile, the rest of us sat there dying inside for 40 minutes. Life rewards the people who act first, not the ones who wait to feel ready. So how do you apply this? It's simple, but powerful. Give yourself a feelings don't matter rule. You do the action no matter the mood, rain or shine, motivated or unmotivated, inspired or half asleep. If you plan to read for 20 minutes, you read. If you plan to run, you run. If you plan to study, you study. Not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. Let me tell you something powerful. You don't become disciplined by doing things when you're motivated. You become disciplined by doing things when you're not. Anyone can work hard on a good day. Discipline is built on the bad days. Here's a trick that works like magic. When your brain says, I don't feel like it, you answer with one sentence, feelings are not the CEO here. Your feelings can make suggestions, but they cannot make decisions. Do this for 1 week. Just 1 week, and your discipline will grow more than it has in the last 5 years. Because once you stop waiting to feel ready, you become unstoppable. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they are overestimating their future self. You know that future version of you, the one who magically wakes up early, reads books, studies for hours, exercises daily, never procrastinates. Yeah, that guy doesn't exist. You created him to avoid doing things today. We all have this imaginary superhero living in our head. You're scrolling at 2 a.m. and saying, it's okay. Future me will wake up early. You skip studying and whisper, future me will catch up tomorrow. You avoid the gym and tell yourself, future me will go twice next week. Future you is the most abused person alive. He works double shifts, fixes all your mistakes, carries all your guilt, and somehow still has 6-pack abs. So the third technique to master self-discipline is powerful and brutally honest. Shrink your goals into guaranteed wins. Why? Because your brain hates big goals. Big goals feel like heavy luggage, and your brain will always tell you to carry it tomorrow. Let me show you how this works. Imagine someone who hasn't read a book in 3 months. Suddenly they decide, I will read 40 pages every day. After 2 days they stop. Why? Because that goal feels like homework mixed with emotional damage. But if they start with just 5 pages, the brain doesn't panic. It says, oh, that's easy, we can do that. 5 pages become 10, 10 become 30. But the discipline sticks because the start was simple. Here's a famous example. When Jerry Seinfeld, one of the most successful comedians ever, was asked how he practiced writing jokes, he didn't say, "I wrote for 3 hours daily." He said, "I wrote one joke a day, just one. But I never broke the chain." He didn't rely on motivation. He relied on small wins. Let me give you a relatable example. Have you ever planned to clean your whole room and suddenly you're lying on the bed, overthinking your entire life? But when you say, "I'll just fold the clothes on that chair," you end up cleaning half the room without realizing. Why? Because starting small destroys resistance. Your brain isn't scared of tiny goals. It's terrified of huge ones. So here's how you apply this technique. Whatever your goal is, studying, gym, reading, learning a skill, reduce it to the smallest possible consistent action, not the impressive action, the guaranteed one. If you want to build the habit of running, your first goal isn't 5 kilometers. Your first goal is put on shoes and walk for 5 minutes. If you want to start writing, your first goal isn't write a whole chapter. It's write 5 sentences. If you want to meditate, don't start with 20 minutes. Start with 2. Here's the magic. Small actions remove fear. Fear removed creates consistency. Consistency creates mastery. People don't become champions by doing big things sometimes. They win by doing small things every day. Your biggest enemy is not your laziness, not your distractions, not even your excuses. Your biggest enemy is something invisible. You can't see it, but it runs your entire life like an undercover boss. It's your environment. People think discipline is about inner strength, but let me tell you something that will sting a little. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your environment. Give the most disciplined person a room full of distractions, and they will lose. Give the laziest person a room designed for focus, and they will win. Environment beats willpower every single time. Let me prove it with something very simple. Have you ever gone to the kitchen just to grab water and came back with snacks you didn't even plan to eat? That wasn't hunger. That was environment. Or you sit down to study. Your phone is right next to you, and suddenly you're checking messages, scrolling reels, answering texts you didn't even care about yesterday. It wasn't your fault. It was your environment. We call people undisciplined, but half of the time, their habits are just a reflection of their surroundings. Here's a famous example. Top athletes don't rely on motivation to train. Their entire environment is designed to force discipline. Coaches, schedules, recovery sessions, training partners, everything. They don't trust willpower. They trust the system around them. Even superstars fix their environment. But normal people expect miracles from their willpower while living in chaos. So, the fourth technique to master self-discipline is design an environment where discipline becomes automatic. Let me show you how powerful this is. You want to read more? Put the book on your pillow. Now, you have to pick it up before sleeping. You want to drink more water? Keep a bottle on your desk, not in the kitchen. You want to eat healthy? Don't fill your fridge with guilt. Fill it with options that don't require you to fight yourself. You want to stop scrolling endlessly? Put your phone in another room while working. You can't fight your phone when it's 5 inches from your face. One of the greatest productivity experts said, if you want to stop eating cookies, don't keep them in the house. Simple. But 90% of people keep the cookie and blame their willpower. Let me give you a relatable example. Have you ever noticed that you become more productive in a cafe or library? It's not magic, it's environment pressure. Everyone around you is working, so your brain says, let's not embarrass ourselves, do something. Your environment is quietly programming your behavior. So here's how you apply this technique starting tonight. Remove friction from the habits you want, and add friction to the habits you want to kill. If you want to wake up early, put your alarm across the room. Now you have to move. If you want to stop late night scrolling, charge your phone far from your bed. Now you have to stand up. And 99% of the time, you won't. If you want to study more, keep your desk clean. Clutter destroys focus faster than noise. If you want to start going to the gym, prepare your clothes the night before. When you wake up and see them ready, your brain feels guilty if you skip. Tiny changes, massive impact. Let me tell you something powerful. You don't lack discipline. You lack a disciplined environment. Fix the environment and discipline becomes effortless. Before we go forward, I want to tell you something that almost nobody realizes. People don't fail because the goal is too big. People fail because the results are too slow. And slow results make your brain panic. You go to the gym for 3 days, no abs, your brain impossible. Refund my effort. You read a book for 1 week, no life change, your brain, this book is useless, back to scrolling. You study for 2 hours, still confused. Your brain, maybe I'm not meant for this. Your brain wants instant results in a world built on delayed rewards. This is why so many people quit right before they were about to improve. So the fifth technique to master self-discipline is fall in love with progress you can't see yet. Because the most powerful growth in your life is invisible in the beginning. Let me prove it. A seed stays underground for weeks before you ever see a leaf. Muscles grow silently before they show physically. Skills improve in the background even when you feel nothing is happening. Your progress is always working, even when it looks silent. Here's a famous example. When Stephen Curry was practicing shooting as a kid, he missed constantly. He said there were days he couldn't hit more than 20% of his shots. But his dad told him, "You're not training for today's results. You're training for future confidence." He trained through the failure. Failing didn't scare him. No results didn't scare him. Silence didn't scare him. That's why he became the greatest shooter in history. Now here's a relatable example you've definitely lived. Have you ever worked out for 1 week and then you go stand in front of the mirror like you're expecting Marvel-level transformation? You flex, hold your breath, twist your body into weird angles, and still nothing. That's when most people quit. Not because it's hard, because they can't see immediate results. But real discipline is this: doing today's work without demanding today's reward. If you can do that, you win at everything. So how do you make yourself stick with slow results? You track effort, not outcome. If your goal is to study, track hours studied, not how smart you feel. If your goal is fitness, track workouts completed, not abs shown. If your goal is writing, track words written, not likes received. Your job is the input. Life decides the output. Let me give you a powerful mindset shift. Consistency is a currency. You deposit daily. Success pays interest later, but you must keep depositing. Even on boring days, even on tired days, even on invisible days. The gym didn't work. You worked. The studying didn't work. You worked. The business didn't work. You worked. Effort always compounds. It always collects quietly in the background. And one random day, the day you least expect, everything jumps forward at once. People will call you lucky. They won't see the years you gave without applause. That is real discipline. Moving forward even when life looks still. Before we continue, let me expose the biggest discipline killer of modern life. A monster so sneaky, it destroys your focus without you even noticing. It's not laziness, it's not distraction, it's mental overload. You wake up every day with 200 tabs open in your brain. Stress from yesterday, plans for today, fear of tomorrow, notifications, deadlines, messages, expectations, pressure. Your brain is not tired, it's overloaded, and an overloaded brain cannot be disciplined. Imagine a laptop with 30 apps running, 15 Chrome tabs open, and low battery. Will it work smoothly? No. It will freeze every 3 minutes and make noises like it's about to explode. That's your mind. This is why the simplest tasks feel heavy. Why you start work but keep switching between apps. Why you get tired without doing anything meaningful. Why you know what to do but your brain refuses to do it. So the sixth technique to master self-discipline is powerful. Reduce your mental load so your discipline has space to breathe. Let me explain. When your mind is cluttered, everything becomes difficult. When your mind is clean, everything becomes possible. Here's a famous example. When Steve Jobs was asked why he wore the same outfit every day, he said, "I don't waste my decision-making energy on small things." He wasn't trying to be fashionable. He was trying to reduce mental load, because decisions drain discipline. And most people waste all their discipline on meaningless choices before they even start real work. Should I eat now or later? Should I study chapter 5 or chapter 7? Should I work out today or tomorrow? Should I reply to this message or ignore it? Should I scroll for 10 minutes or 15 minutes? By the time you're ready to start your real task, your mental battery is already dead. Let me give you a relatable example. Have you ever sat down to study and suddenly your brain says, "Let's clean the desk first. Then, let's drink water. Then, let's check WhatsApp. Then, let's adjust the window." Then you look at the clock and 1 hour is gone. You didn't lack discipline. Your brain was overloaded. So, here's how you fix this. And it works like magic. Create simple routines for the things you do every day. Not fancy routines, not aesthetic routines, just simple ones that reduce thinking. Your morning routine should not be a puzzle. Wake up, wash face, drink water, start done. No drama. Your study routine should not start with 20 decisions. Set a specific time. Set a specific place. Set a specific duration. Your workout should not be, let me see what exercise I feel like doing today. No. Have a plan ready. Your meals, decide them ahead. Don't make your brain pick between 50 food options when you're already tired. Your phone, turn off non-essential notifications. If your phone is screaming for attention all day, your mind will scream with it. Here's the truth. You don't need more discipline. You need fewer decisions. The fewer decisions you make, the more discipline you save for things that matter. You stop wasting energy on nonsense and start using that energy for progress. Everything we've discussed so far, pre-deciding choices, doing it without motivation, starting small, designing your environment, loving invisible progress, reducing mental load, all of it is useless if you don't apply this final secret. And the secret is simple: create a chain you cannot break. Let me explain. A chain is just a small action repeated every day, one link after another. And once the chain starts, breaking it becomes more painful than continuing. Here's a famous example. Jerry Seinfeld, yes, the comedian we talked about earlier, used what he called the don't break the chain method. Every day he wrote at least one joke and marked it on a calendar. The idea wasn't to finish a masterpiece in a day, it was to never skip a day. Skipping one day felt worse than missing a whole week of work. This is what creates unstoppable momentum. Let me give you a relatable example. Imagine you want to wake up early. You do it once, great. You do it twice, still fine. By day 3 or 4, your brain starts negotiating. But if you commit to a no-break chain, your brain starts thinking, I've already done it this many times, I can't ruin it now. Momentum becomes your friend. Consistency becomes automatic. Even small actions become huge when repeated. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't decide every morning whether to brush, you just do it. It's automatic. Discipline doesn't feel like discipline when it becomes a chain. Now let's take it to life-changing level. You want to study every day? Write 1 page per day. It's tiny, you'll never fail. But mark it on your calendar. See the chain grow. Breaking it will hurt more than continuing. You want to exercise? Do 5 push-ups every day? Mark it, no skipping. Eventually 5 push-ups turn into 10, 20, and you're actually in shape, and the chain did the work, not brute willpower. You want to meditate? 1 minute a day? Mark it. Suddenly, it becomes a habit. Here's the key. The chain is visual. You see it, you feel it, you protect it. Your brain naturally wants to keep it going. Discipline isn't about being strong every day. Discipline is about building a chain so unbreakable that even your lazy self respects it. And the beautiful part, chains multiply. Once you have one unbreakable habit, adding another is easier. Soon your life becomes a chain of powerful actions. Momentum carries you forward. Motivation isn't needed. Discipline runs on autopilot. So here's your action plan tonight. Pick one habit you want to build. Make it so small you cannot fail. Mark it visibly, calendar, app, notebook. Do it tomorrow and never break the chain. That's it. Everything else, planning, environment, pre-decisions, supports this chain. This is the culmination of all the techniques. Because when your chain grows, your discipline grows. When your discipline grows, your life grows. And when your life grows, everything you want, wealth, skill, confidence, freedom, follows naturally. So take these 7 techniques and start today. Pre-decide your choices. Do it without waiting to feel like it. Shrink your goals, design your environment, fall in love with invisible progress, reduce your mental load, and create a chain you cannot break. Master these, and I promise you, life stops being a series of random events and becomes something you build intentionally. Discipline isn't just a skill anymore, it becomes your superpower. Now go out there and build your chain. No excuses, no delays, just action. Because your future self is already waiting. And trust me, he's rooting for you. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.